Do you get Wout Van Aert's decision to give the Gent Wevelgem victory to Christophe Laporte?
Yes.
Has Primoz Roglic been racing too defensively in Catalonia?
No.
Was 10th place the best possible result for Shari Bossait in Gent Wevelgem?
No.
Is the Jumbo-Visma Classic squad more dominant than the Quickstep team ever was?
No.
I've got the spores, the sickness. There's the twins in my brain.
This is the Holy Week of cycling. Every cycling fan is already dreaming of one of the biggest races of the season, Tour of Flanders. And so are we. On today's course in this Domestique Cycling Podcast episode, we have Gent Wevelgem as first obstacle. Next up, we will conquer the battle between Primoz Roglic and Remco Evenepoel before we head towards a small Dwars Vlaanderen preview. In today's final, the Tour of Flanders preview awaits us. And joining me on this ride are two usual suspects, Bram and Yves. Welcome, guys.
Hey. Hello.
Yves, you were on the road during Gent Wevelgem. Are your toes still frozen?
It took a while, but now they are back alive and they are warm again.
Tell us more about your trip through Flanders fields.
Well, the day started quite early in Ypres for the presentation of the teams. It was really wet, a lot of rain and cold. But there were quite a lot of people actually. I didn't expect it. And then we moved to the course, and I think we saw them 6 times. And when the TV coverage started, we decided to get ourselves in the sofa, drink some coffee, and watch the final of Gent Wevelgem.
Bram, while Yves was freezing, you were on Domestic Live duty on Twitter, and it was a record day.
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't planning on doing the live that day, but with it being so rainy, I was like, no, I'm not going riding, so I was available. And yeah, just from the start, a lot of great content with the videos supplied by Yves from the presentation as well. And yeah, it was an amazing day for Domestic Live.
With one of you on the roads and the other behind the television, yeah, you guys must know everything about Gent Wevelgem by now. Which conclusions can we draw after the race?
I think we can say that Wout Van Aert is ready for Sunday.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. I think we saw him attack on the camel the second time.
Second ascent, yes.
I think Turgis was in front of him at that point, and Van Aert just passed him with such a difference of speed together with Laporte.
And
he's ready, but will he be ready to win the Ronde van Vlaanderen is something else, but I think he's ready.
Exactly, you guys say he's ready, but on what base can you say that he's ready to battle against Pogačar and Van der Poel on the uphill sections? Because that was the problem during E3.
Yeah, but during E3 the gaps were never big, and he's taking this week, or at least Gent Wevelgem, to get a little bit of extra race training in the legs, whereas Pogačar and Van der Poel have been resting and probably doing a different type of training. I think for Van Aert this works better, otherwise he wouldn't be doing it.
Was it the two Jumbo guys being super strong, or was the opposition a little weaker that day of Gent Wevelgem?
The big three, so Pogačar, Van der Poel and Van Aert, are on a different level than the others. Laporte was in the draft of Van Aert when he attacked on the camel. So he had to follow the wheel and really bite in it. They are just on another level, and the others aren't bad, but I think those 3 are superior, very strong. The others are very good as well, but they don't have that top fitness level or are that capable to be that good in comparison to those three.
Van Aert and Laporte attack with almost 52 kilometers to go, I think, on the second descent of Kemmelberg, and after that there was one more crucial moment, the third and steepest ascent of Kemmelberg, where Laporte was dropped for a moment, but Wout van Aert waited on top of the climb. Were you guys expecting a solo of Van Aert there, or did it make sense to wait?
I think it was a lot smarter to wait. That way he didn't have to do the final 25k solo, and he actually could save a couple of percentages for next week. Even now we're talking about this before, and that can really make the difference. That he didn't have to go all out. He could relay perfectly with Christophe. So yeah.
Well, at that point when he dropped Laporte, I thought Van Aert is now going to show that he's the strongest of the two, and they're going to ride the two of them to Wevelgem. But by dropping him, Van Aert shows he deserves to win a little more. But yeah, looking back at it now, wouldn't it be better just to follow the pace of Laporte and be in second position? Because now he gives him the win. Yeah, but he dropped him.
Yeah, I think Van Aert didn't have the intention to drop Laporte. I think he wanted to do it with a steady pace till the top, but that steady pace was a little bit too high for Laporte. He could have stayed in the wheel of Laporte, yes. I think it's difficult to say.
Yeah, I don't want to read too much into that moment. I think he just wanted to ride that pace, and riding behind Laporte wouldn't really have... Well, maybe it would have not shown that he was the strongest, but in the end, like, what rides up Camel, yeah, just at his race pace.
On the way to Wevelgem, there were a couple of interviews, I think, with the sport director of Jumbo-Visma. I think it was Maarten Wijnands.
Yeah, it was.
He said that the decision was not made who's going to win. But what did you guys expect? A win for Wout or a gift for Laporte? Or
to
sprint?
be honest, I expected Wout to gift it to Laporte. Don't ask me why. But I think they are really good friends. They live several weeks together on the Teide for training camps. So they aren't just teammates. They became real friends during those winter trainings, etc. And they just had a good talk, and I think Wout gifted it to Laporte as a sort of gesture for what's coming, the two most important races of the classic season. It's better that they do it like this than they sprint against each other like as they were did in Strade.
That would be weird.
I think that's not the way to go. So yeah.
So no problem with Wout gifting the victory to Laporte.
I have no problems with that, no.
Same here.
Does it say something about Gent Wevelgem as a race?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Wout van Aert already won Gent Wevelgem. We all know Gent Wevelgem isn't a monument. It's a very nice race. It's a big race. It's an important race for many. But it stays within the team. It's already on his palmarès.
Besides the two guys of Jumbo, who was the strongest rider in the race?
I think Pedersen, to be honest.
There's a name on my list now, so I expect you're going to say it.
I
but
think
it wasn't Pedersen.
No? Well, if it's the third step on the podium, then maybe Sepp van Mark.
I think Frederik Frison really surprised me once again. I think he was fourth in Klassiek Brugge de Panne, and now he's fourth again. He's a type of rider I know as a domestique who isn't really a lot in the spotlights. But Dieter already proved us wrong this winter with his data analysis of the 20-minute test, I think, or the 5-minute test of Friso, that he's pushing some really good numbers. At that moment I said, yeah, blah blah, data, numbers, doesn't mean a lot. But Friso proves me wrong this season, the start of the season.
The name on my list was a teammate of Frison. It was Florian Vermeers, which had a lot of bad luck at E3, and he had Wevelgem too. And yeah, I had the feeling he had pretty strong legs. But yeah, he wasn't able to show it because of bad luck.
Yeah, I agree. But Vermeers is one of those riders that seems to thrive in this weather. The time that he was really good in Paris-Roubaix, it was also very bad weather. So he just seems to be able to turn it on whenever the rain is on as well. But yeah, he's unlucky every time. It's not his year so far.
You guys already mentioned the third name on the podium, Sep van Marke. We've got to be honest, we've been laughing with him multiple times. But yeah, there he is, third place, and he's having a good spring season so far.
Yeah, kudos to Van Marke for being there. It was a very hard race, hard conditions. He was in that second group. He didn't steal that last podium place.
Do you think with this third place, his classics campaign has been good? Everything that's added now is bonus.
I mean, it's better than the last couple seasons. So in comparison to those, it's good. If he's there to win these races, then no, of course not. But also, I don't think anyone or not many in Israel cycling team are expecting him to win these races.
All right. I already asked you who was the third best rider in the race, but who was the joke of the day?
Fabio Jakobsen, I think. It's pretty harsh to say he's the joke of the day. He showed himself in a race that I don't think really suits him, certainly not in the weather conditions like it was on Sunday. He tried to jump towards the front group, and I think
which wasn't necessary at all at that point in the race.
It wasn't necessary, no. I think he came on 20 meters of the back wheel of that group, but then he just completely blew up, and his race was over. But I don't think we can say Jakobsen is the joke of the day, but it's more Soudal Quickstep, in my opinion. Once again,
I think the DS there is to be blamed, because you got to know that is not a move that is going to be good for him as a rider. It doesn't play into his specialty. We did see Pedersen do it right before him. The gap was a little bit narrower. Pedersen just made it. So to then send Jakobsen after it, it's just a suicide mission.
And when it comes to tactics, that race was kind of a failure, I think, for Soudal Quickstep. Because, as you were going to mention, Yves, I think, De Merlier, he did basically the same. He attacked on the way to Wevelgem.
Yeah.
And that didn't make sense at all.
That's like Van Aert and Laporte were 2 minutes up the road. We already knew that second group, so the bigger group would fight for the last podium spot. And then I think when they got at the start of the long straight road to Wevelgem, he just decided to send it on a false plus section. That was maybe one of the most stupid things I saw this season at this moment, I think.
Was that inspired by frustration? Or, I don't know what the plan was actually.
I can't
or maybe
explain.
a will to prove himself to the team that he is able to be in those races. And I think that's also kind of what fueled the Jakobsen attack, where I think the atmosphere in the Classics team of Soudal Quickstep is so low that everyone feels the need, like, we got to do something because sitting in the bunch is even worse. But they're proving that it's not. Because actually staying in the bunch would have been able to have them sprint for third.
Let's move over to the women's race. Madeleine Reuser, she made it look very easy, that win.
Soudal Quickstep needs to do something about team tactics, but I think some
If you
teams
said
in the-
Soudal Quickstep, but we're talking about the women's race.
yeah. Soudal Quickstep needs to change things about strategy, but I think some women's teams as well. Like, I think Canyon was in that chasing group, Jumbo was in this chasing group with 3 riders or even 4, and no one was willing to domestique for the other, or no DS said they had to take the initiative, so Royce received 2 minutes for free. And that's it. You're never gonna take back a Roycer with such a big engine.
But even with 1 minute, it would have been difficult. But you're totally right. There have been some tactically mistakes in the chasing group. But I remember on Monday, you texted me that Sharibo said, very good race. And then you didn't agree on the Canyon take. That wasn't perfect technically. It's easy as that.
But I think it was that race. Nieuwe Doma was, together with Kopecky, the strongest in the race, in my opinion. Or was it in Classique Benet in that race? And I think Nieuwe Doma crashed. So that was the leader or one of the leaders of Canyon out. And then in that chasing group, yes, there was Shari, and I don't know, there were 2 others. Maaike van der Duin and...
Wasn't it Skalniak? Who was that too?
Yeah, it's, I don't know, but I think the team made a strategic mistake, yes. Yeah.
In the yes or no questions, you said that 10th place was the best she could get? Or was it the opposite you said?
It wasn't the best she could get.
It wasn't the best. What was the best then?
In that final 2K, I don't know what that second group was doing, but they were like riding at 20 kilometers an hour, like they have a 5 minutes advantage on the group behind that. It just like they didn't want to be on the podium. Like, yeah, I have no clue what they were thinking at that point. You saw the disappointment in Shai's interview as well. She tried to keep the speed up in that group by attacking, but no one was willing to take over. They were really weird finish of Gent Wevelgem for women, in my opinion.
On Sunday, there was the final stage of Volta a Catalunya as well. The stage race was a small appetizer for the coming Giro d'Italia. Did you guys enjoy the first battle between Primoz Roglic and Remco Evenepoel?
I definitely did. Those two going together like that. And yeah, clearly they're enjoying each other's company quite a bit as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Giro after this Catalunya.
After 7 days of racing, it was, I guess. Who has the mental advantage now? Is it Evenepoel or Roglic?
Both.
I think Roglic has the advantage, to be honest.
I think Remco knew at the start of Catalunya that it will be difficult to beat Roglic. Roglic is one of those top tier riders in the peloton who already proved himself multiple times. So Remco is not going to Catalunya thinking I'm gonna win this with ease. He was able to hurt Roglic in a couple of stages. Like that stage he won on that tough uphill finish where he put like 4 seconds into Roglic. If he didn't celebrate that early, he would have gotten the leader's jersey at that point, and then we would have seen a completely different race. Roglic would have won probably as well due to the bonification seconds. But there would be a completely other sort of race, as Quickstep wouldn't pace down the break that much, or so I don't know. I think they both are very happy with what happened in Catalunya, and I don't think one has more of a mental advantage than the other.
And of course, you have to consider the Giro has time trials. Remco's already said that's where he thinks his advantage is going to be in the Giro on Roglic, which I think is quite bold. Roglic is the
Yeah.
Olympic champion in time trialing. But clearly Remco believes he can put some time into Roglic in a time trial and then defend.
I think
He's very
uh,
confident.
Always.
I think after this week of racing, there's a little advantage for Remco because I think he learned a lot this week. He learned how to race against Roglic, while Roglic already had a lot of experience, raced a lot of GC guys. But yeah, it's fair to say that Remco made a multiple mistakes this week.
I think it's honestly also that Roglic learned a lot. That Remco
Yeah.
can sprint, and that Roglic should not take Remco to the line every time. Something that up until this week we would have said, well, take Roglic to the line. He's gonna come out in the last 50 meters and win every stage compared to Remco if they're together. Sort of that same talent that Pogacar has. But now Remco can sprint.
But
Love to see
We
it.
saw a different Roglic than we saw the last couple of seasons as well, I think. Roglic was really defensively. I never saw him race that defensively before. He isn't the guy who has the most attractive style of racing. But when he feels good, he should attack at 2Ks to go. And now he didn't. He was just countering on everything that Remco did. He was just his shadow for 7 days straight, almost.
A lot of people are afraid that the Giro will be the same style of defensive racing by Roglic. Do you guys feel the same way, or do you expect fireworks?
I think it'll be
Uh,
quite different because we're starting with a time trial. There will instantly be small gaps between them, which cause one or the other to ride in a different manner. If we see a Roglic advantage after the first week, where there are 2 time trials, I think, then we will see Roglic riding defensively, unless he sees that Remco is fading. But yeah, I expect quite attacking Remco. That's how we know him. I think that's how he loves to race.
Was Catalunya a target from Evenepoel?
No.
Or not? Okay.
Bram, I read on your Twitter that you're the Remco hype train driver. Is the train sold out already?
No, there's still spots. Arrival is in Milan, I believe. So
So you still have a spot saved for Eve.
yeah, but I'm not
First
having my
class,
hopes up
right?
for that. Yeah,
Those
he's
tickets
definitely
are
getting
too
the-
expensive. Too expensive, those tickets.
I'll cut you a deal. Don't worry.
No.
All right. Next up on the calendar is Dwars door Vlaanderen. Does the name Nico Eekhout ring a bell to you?
Yes, from my childhood.
All right. Can I tell you the story of Nico Eekhout in Dwars door Vlaanderen in 2001?
Go ahead.
So his nickname, Rambo. He was at the start of Dwars door Vlaanderen in 2001. Conditions were cold and rainy. And after 8 kilometers, he went into the attack with his Lotto Adecco teammate Thierry Marichal. So the two of them in the breakaway. Eekhout already asked other riders before the official start to join him in the breakaway, but they all said he was a big fool to go in the breakaway in those circumstances. But yeah, the guys continued. Problem, they had an advantage of 12 minutes at a certain point. But Nico, he wasn't stopping. Rambo went full gas. His teammate Thierry Marichal, he was in trouble with 50 kilometers to go. I guess it was at Oude Quaremont. Yeah, Nico had to go solo. He was thinking like, what the hell am I doing here? But yeah, there wasn't a way back. in the chasing group, and there was Bettini, there was Matan, there was Hoffman, the winner of the year before. But guess what? Nico, he won that edition after being in the attack for more than 180 kilometers. Have you ever heard such a story?
That's exceptional, incredible. Pogacar, Van der Poel, and Van Aert are nothing in comparison to Rambo. When we hear that story.
So, who do you expect to do the same tomorrow?
I think in modern racing, it's unlikely to happen. We're seeing breaks now being given more than 3 minutes these days. I don't think this is repeatable in this day and age.
I think the DS from Jumbo is listening right now, and he's saying to Benoit and Laporte, go and do a Rambo.
What do you guys expect of Dwars of Vlaanderen without the big 3 starting there?
It's once again Jumbo has the key in that race. They are starting with a pretty strong team. Van Baarle is out due to his crash in the A3. But it's still very strong, I think, with Benoit, Laporte, Kooi, who proved in Gent Wevelgem he's more than a sprinter. So yeah, I think Jumbo-Visma is once again the team to beat. And Soudal Quickstep is once again the team who needs to prove themselves.
They're starting there with Merlier and Alaphilippe.
Yep.
Will the two of them be able to race together? Because those are two different tactics at the start.
But I think a race like Tours of Vlaanderen needs that. You need that backup because the race isn't always decided the same way every year. Personally, I expect the most from Mats Pedersen. He's been having a very good couple of races with A3. He closed the gap to Van Aert and Van der Poel together with Pogacar. And then in Gent Wevelgem, he also closed a really big gap to the front group. And then at the end, was able to close that gap again, but failed to sprint to that third podium spot. So for me, he's really strong, and I expect to see him.
How many riders do you guys expect to go to the finish line together? Small group, solo, bunch sprint?
I don't think it's going to be a bunch sprint, but I need to look at the weather conditions for tomorrow, but I think in the morning it will rain a little bit.
Conditions will be pretty dry, I think.
But the temperatures will be nice as well. I think the 15 or 16 degrees, so it's not cold at all. It will depend on some riders with an attacking style. What can we expect from Ineos, for example? They have no sprinter.
Pidcock is back.
Yeah, and their team is really strong as well. Pidcock with Sheffield, Turner, Ghana is there once again. But they have no sprinter, so they need to attack a lot and see if they can get in a small group. What can you expect from Pidcock, actually? I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. It's guessing.
You never know. I've said this before in this podcast. You never know what Pidcock you're going to get, and especially coming out of an injury. Although a concussion doesn't stop him from training inside, so he might have just have his Strade legs back, and who's going to stop him at that point?
So Mats Pedersen is your name, Bram? Yves, who's your pick?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I didn't really think about that, to be honest. Do you want it to be mainstream or bold?
You can do whatever you like.
I'm gonna say Tim Wellens.
Tim Wellens? Where did that come from?
He's not done yet with this preseason form. It's still March. Tomorrow it's the 29th, so he can still take glory in his favorite month.
All right. I'll go with Arnaud de Lee tomorrow.
Arnaud de Lee.
Arnaud de Lee, exactly. Have you ever seen someone do that on top of Camelback?
I know, and certainly not all
in
on
rainy
wet
conditions?
cobbles.
Damn
I
it.
think, yeah. Every time you're gonna tweet his name in Domestique Live, it just needs to be another really.
All right. In the women's race, there's no Shari Bossé tomorrow,
No, but
which
she's still
I
gonna
think
win.
is a weird decision because isn't this the perfect race for her?
All eyes on the Ronde van Vlaanderen, Hannes. You already know that.
Oh, come on. Get your feet on the ground, please.
She was on top of the Camelberg in the first 5 of the peloton. So I'm with
She's
my
clearly
feet on my
ready.
ground. She's ready.
But what's your opinion on this one? She
Whether or
never
not-
won a classic before.
Yeah, so not sending her to this one is a missed opportunity. Is that the
Yeah.
question?
That's
But
my take.
Canyon isn't at the start, I think.
Wait, what?
Yeah, well, this is the perfect race for her. I'm sure.
But when the team is not starting, she can't start.
Yeah, but my take is that
I
this
think
would
that's
be
really
the
good
perfect
logic.
race for her.
Yeah.
Going to the line with a small group. That's the
Yeah,
perfect scenario, right?
Yeah, but it's gonna happen in the Ronde van Vlaanderen on Sunday then.
Yeah, and the chasing group behind Lotte Kopecky, of course.
No,
But we'll get
not
there.
Kopecky.
We'll get there. All right, let's move over to the final part of this episode. Yves already ruined this part. The Tour of Flanders preview. The hype is getting real here in Flanders, and I think it will be difficult to shoot any hot takes here. Yves, surprise me.
No,
we all
There's one
expecting-
person who can do it.
Are we all expecting the big battle between Pogacar, Van Aert, and Van der Poel?
Yes,
Yes.
I think there is no other rider capable to win the Ronde van Vlaanderen except if those 3 do something extremely weird and poker, excuse me for the word, the shit out of each other, or they crash all 3 or 2 of the 3 crash, then something can happen. Of course, it's still 273 kilometers of racing, so a lot can happen between Brugge and Oudenaarde. We can't forget that. It's not because they're that strong that they are certainly gonna win, but yeah. When
Maybe-
they all
Let's start with the weather circumstances that are predicted for Sunday. I've
Okay.
seen so far raindrops, cloudy, and there will be some wind, even cross headwind in the final 13 kilometers after Paterberg.
headwind. I don't
I'm
like that.
quite curious what the different run-in this year is going to change. Of course, we're not starting from Antwerp anymore, like the past 3 or 4 years. We're back in Bruges. So in the past years, those first, let's say, 100 kilometers between Antwerp and Oudenaarde were always quite dull. It was nothing happening, just the break getting quite a bit of distance. With the wind being more prevalent in West Vlaanderen, I do think maybe we can see something extra, but does the race get harder because of this or easier?
Are you thinking about echelons or?
With this peloton, you never know.
Really?
I mean, we have wind, we have flat open country in West Flanders. Echelons is an opportunity. Like, it's possible. Normally, I would say, okay, Soudal Quickstep is going to be a team to do it. I don't think they're going to do it this year. But I can see an Alps in the Koenig try it.
Jumbo as well. Why wouldn't they try to create echelons in the first part of the race? Jumbo has the squad and has the most quality looking at the team. If there will be the same scenario as the A3, where Van der Poel just attacks with 70 Ks to go and they are with 3, then the power of Jumbo is gone.
If
I
it's-
think Van
If it
Van
stays
Aert
like
needs
this,
his team.
the wind will, I think it will be cross tailwind, which is suitable for echelon.
Yes.
Puts a
But-
smile on our faces.
Yeah, I can't imagine seeing echelons during the first hours.
Why are you always a party pooper?
If the Jumbo DSs are listening to us, come on.
Please give us some echelons.
So, Eve, you already mentioned that there is no scenario for you for outsiders. Also not if they're in the team of Jumbo, UAE, or Alpecin.
We saw Søren Kragh Andersen get in an early break in the E3 together with Van Hooijdonk. Mohoric was there as well. At that moment, I thought it could be a race-winning move. Van Aert protecting that break, Van der Poel initially protecting maybe. But then Van der Poel said, no, I'm just gonna rip it apart on time and see what happens. I think it's the Ronde van Vlaanderen, and there are Van Aert and Pogačar are very eager to win it. Van der Poel as well, but Van der Poel has it already twice on his palmares. He wants to win it as well. Don't understand me wrong, but I think Pogačar is too hungry to let someone else take glory in the Ronde van Vlaanderen.
Well, actually, I expect Pogačar to do things we've never seen before. Yeah, really. In
But no
E3
echelons.
in E3 we saw him attack on Oude Guarman before the cobbles. I don't know what he's going to do now, but he's racing on a revenge this Sunday.
The first time Oude Guarman is with 140 Ks to go. He could try there.
Yeah, don't think so, but
He could
Do
go
you-
Rambo.
do you do you guys think all will be played on the final ascent of Oude Guarman and Paterberg, or do you expect big things even before that?
It's never the last one. I think this generation's proven that. I think we'll see stuff happening earlier, and the last duo will decide who goes to the line.
And who's that
But
going to be?
I think it'll be the same group as E3. I don't think they're gonna drop each other.
The three of them.
Mm-hmm. Three-way sprint again. We'll see who wins. If
I don't think so.
Like Hannes, you mentioned it's gonna be a cross headwind the last 13 Ks to the line.
Yeah,
That's not
I looked
not
it up
really
today,
in,
but
that's not really in favor for a solo guy.
Nope.
So imagine Van der Poel or Pogačar getting the gap on the others, and Van Aert and someone else work together. It's quite difficult to say. I think Van Aert misses that 0.5% to follow Van der Poel and Pogačar.
on Paterberg,
On
that's exactly what
Paterberg.
I was thinking. We saw him on Oude Guarmont. He had to close a couple of meters on top. Now it will be on Paterberg, which is even harder. There won't be any room in the gutter due to the barriers, which makes it even harder. There might be some rain on those cobbles, which makes it even harder. But then again, the headwind is in favor of his chances. But yeah, as
But-
I said, Pogačar is going all in. No way he will be thinking about his sprint. His finish might be his first finish is on top of Paterberg. It's easy as that.
Like you say, the headwind is in favor for Van Aert. I agree in the hill section, but when it comes to the sprint, he had the chance in the E3 to open up his sprint early because of the tailwind as well. He mentioned it himself. Will that headwind maybe hamper him in a possible three-way sprint?
He
If
can't
it's
make
against
he-
Van der Poel, yeah, he has a bigger kick.
Like Van Aert,
depends on the way
Will-
on when he starts sprinting.
but like when you have headwind, you're not gonna start your sprint with 300 meter or 250 meters to go.
He's never going to 200 meters. I'm sure. He's not going to
But
do
when
that.
he opens up with 300 or 250 to go, he risks to fade in the last 50 meters.
Yeah, but he needs a longer sprint.
Yeah, but that's what
Yeah.
we're saying. The headwind is actually a disadvantage for him in the sprint itself because he needs that longer sprint. But at the same time, the long sprint
Yeah,
is
but
gonna
still, the harder the
damage him.
sprint is, the better for him.
Maybe.
I think when a headwind, Van Aert is gonna wait a little bit longer, and then the kick from Van der Poel comes back into play. Because whatever, if there is headwind or not, that kick that Van der Poel has is superior in comparison to Van Aert. So I think a headwind sprint makes it very close once again.
If he waits too long, then yeah, it's the
Then the Belgian media is gonna explode.
it's the most stupid move of his career. Like, you can make the mistake
But-
once, you can do it twice, but come on, he's not going to do
But-
it again.
Imagine him opening up too early and he's fading. What are people gonna say at that point then? What is the
Yeah.
media gonna say? What's the
If he
team
doesn't,
gonna say?
if he's there and he doesn't win the sprint, they're always going to complain. Don't be afraid of that.
Welcome to Belgian media.
Exactly. But I think, yeah, the way I see it, there's more chance he's going to open up too early than too late.
I don't know. It's
It's also
273 kilometers in a very hard race. His legs need to be able to open up the sprint early as well. I still believe in the cross world championships. If he had good legs, he would open up immediately after the corner, and he didn't. It's something mental. If your legs are already gone before you open up the sprint, you're gonna wait as long as possible. It's a human thing.
Yeah, but E3 was hard as well. He
But
suffered the
Ronde van
most of the
Vlaanderen
three.
is harder. Yeah, he did, but in the E3 you have, I think, 20 or 25 kilometers to recover between the last hill and the finish in Harelbeke, and now it's 13.
13, yeah, from the top of Paterberg.
So,
but
How is Pogacar going to win this one?
I think he has to win it solo.
I guess so.
Go over Paterberg and have the gap. Can he beat them in the sprint? In like maybe 1 out of 10 cases, he might be able to. But this is all under the assumption that it's those three going to the line together.
I think if Pogacar wants to win in a sprint, he should hope Van Aert isn't there anymore.
That would also give him a good rematch for last year, and hopefully he learned from last year that he shouldn't get boxed in. Personally, I think Pogacar needs to go solo. I think that's how he prefers his wins as well. A Pogacar winning Flanders against the two biggest cobbled classics guys that there are, that's going to be...
Imagine that. A Tour de
Yeah.
France winner.
I mean, yeah, it'd be unseen in recent cycling.
Let's talk about our pre-season picks. Bram, you remember yours?
I think I said Pogacar.
You did. I did the same. And of course, our non-mainstream guy, Yves, he went crazy. He said Alaphilippe.
yeah. I still believe in Alaphilippe. If he's in top form, he's the only one who's able to follow those three but he's not on that level, so that pick is already dead before it even began. But that's the risk of being a non-mainstream guy, of course.
Before we're talking about the women's race, I need one name.
What did we say preseason? Did we go for Pogacar or did we go for Van der Poel?
I think we went with
Pogacar, I think.
Pogacar. Yeah.
Okay. Well, he still sounds good, so.
Van der Poel.
I think Pogacar.
Two of us are
Extra
stubborn.
question, who's gonna be fourth?
Who's
Oh,
going
that-
to be fourth? Good question.
The first of the mortals, as Jurgensen calls it.
Well, can Jurgensen be fourth again?
I think if you can be fourth after those three in E3, you can also be fourth in Ronde.
It would be excellent for
will-
my wheeler manager.
Or will the Slovenian daredevil take fourth?
I don't know how
Mohoric.
bad his crash was in Gent Wevelgem because he did hit the deck.
I saw his post on Instagram saying he was gutted. He crashed, but nothing really bothers.
Okay.
Nothing bothers him. So. Or some Danish
Valentin
dynamite.
Madouas?
Mats Pedersen,
No, I don't believe in Mats Pedersen for Sunday.
Alexander Christophe.
Yep.
He's always there in the Ronde van Vlaanderen. Alexander Christophe is
Yeah, he will be there somewhere.
Oliver Nassen.
Ole.
That would be great.
After seeing a really good result from Sepp van Marken, how good would it be to get one from Oliver Nassen as well?
Yeah.
Even better. All right, but so we don't know who's going to be fourth, but we do know who's going to win the women's race.
Not a lot of Kopecky.
Then give me
But-
another name, please.
I'm gonna
Who
say
else is
SD
starting for
Works.
SD Works?
Demi Vollering. Oh, they're gonna get... Oh, a rematch sprint.
How
Vollering,
is
Kopecky.
SD Works
Who-
going to lose Tour of Flanders?
Due
that's
to
one
a
negative
not so smart way of racing like Wiebes did in Gent Wevelgem. She took out two of her team members. Unnecessary, but I think only
One, I think.
Cecchini and Kopecky stopped to check if she
Yep.
was okay. But
She already knew she was going to win Tour of Flanders, so she didn't care.
no, your take is already over, Hans. Stop fighting for it. It's over.
I remember predicting this before the season, that no one would be able to beat her in Tour of Flanders. I think I said then that no one would be able to follow her on Paterberg, because she never climbed this good before. And until today, I still can't see who's going to drop her.
Annemiek van Vleuten.
Yeah, I don't know how good she is.
She
but
only
no
raced
one knows.
Strade. She only raced Strade, where she finished fourth. There she wasn't good enough to follow Lotte. But I think she trained a lot during the 4th of March and now the 1st of April it will be, or the 2nd of April. She will be ready, and she's not here in 2023 to just ride in the peloton.
you also have Cecile Uttrup Ludwig,
Exactly.
who hasn't
she's,
raced since, and I think she also has her eye on this prize.
she's having a good season.
Nieuwe Doma as well. In Gent Wevelgem she was
But that's the
amongst
problem
the
with
best with
That's
Kopecky.
the problem with Nivea Doma and Uttrup Ludwig. It's very hard for them to finish things off. They don't have the fastest sprint. And they don't really have a solo either.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Vittoria
but if you're
Guazzini-
asking, yeah, maybe.
Guazzini maybe for the as
Nope.
Joker in the FDG team. She has a sprint, but
Hannes just wants us to write down that Kopecki's gonna win, and
I'm
then
not
he's gonna be happy.
I'm not gonna write down Kopecky. I already have my name from the start of the season, and it's staying the same name till now. Shari Bossait.
Come on.
If she wins, you're gonna be in trouble the next episode of this podcast. You're really gonna be in trouble.
We should start counting the times you mentioned Shari.
It's my
incredible.
second time.
It's incredible.
I said she would win Gent Wevelgem, and no, eronder aan. That's it.
I'm gonna throw another take in there. Marianne Vos.
Yep.
Os.
If she can try and follow Kopecky, and she has the ability to outsprint her, she's the GOAT after all.
Imagine the same situation happens like in Gent Wevelgem. Reusser just flies away, nobody cares. Then Kopecky is blocked.
Yep.
Who can do what Reusser did? Reusser herself. Majerus
Nope.
was in the chase group as well. She was defending the break from Reusser. Vollering can do it, I think. Such a long solo, I don't know if Vollering is able to do that. So I think it's only Reusser who could do an early move and stay away
Maybe
within
Henderson?
the SD Works team.
Oh, within that team. Okay, yeah.
And then what's the take exactly? That Reusser is going to ruin the Kopecky party, or?
That Kopecky needs to watch out of her own teammates in some way, that not the same happens like Gent Wevelgem.
Reusser
Or-
tried it last year. On Oude Kwaremond, I think.
Yeah, Reusser
Pretty
is
strong as well.
She's very strong.
No, I think the best team besides Team SD Works, number-wise, will be Movistar, I think. They were pretty strong in Omloop het Nieuwsblad with Sierra, Lippert and Mackay. Besides Annemiek van Vleuten, and you also have Emma Norsgaard, I think. So,
No, she's not on the provisional start list at least.
yeah, but still, the four of them are pretty strong together.
I'm looking at the start list, and DSM once again, Pfeiffer Georgie in exceptional form. Megan Jastrap as well. I'm not saying they're gonna win, but they are good. Juliette Labouze is there as well.
All right, one name before we give the word to Bram and finish this episode. You already know mine. So,
I'm gonna go for Marianne Vos.
don't you dare.
I'm gonna go for Nieuwia Domer.
Kasia Nieuwiadoma. All right, what a way to finish.
All right, that just leaves
Sorry,
me
Shari.
with... Okay.
Sorry, Shari, for
Yeah, it was quite
the
surprising you
betrayal.
abandoning her.
yeah, it's all due to Hannes saying 10 times nope and calling me crazy several times on chat. So
Hashtag blame Hannes.
yeah, hashtag blame Hannes. Let's make it a thing.
Okay. Okay. I think we've said everything we wanted to say. That just leaves me with thanking you, our audience. Thank you for tuning into the podcast again this week. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you like our content, please consider supporting us by buying us a coffee through our Ko-Fi page, which you can find in the description. Your support helps us continue producing great content. For those of you watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Domestique Cycling Podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I've got the spores, the sickness. There's be twins in my brain.